Hello and welcome back to another edition of the MCR. My name is Mac. I'm with my co-host this morning, TJ, and we're going to talk about some insanity here in the state of Michigan. We're talking about House Bill 4474, and I'm sure most of you have not heard of it, although it has been in the news. The people of the state of Michigan enact a hate crime if you hurt someone's feelings. Now, the penalty for such a crime, the criminalization of free speech, is 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Your initial reaction, TJ?
Well, of course, I read this and I didn't think to write it down or anything, but it seems to me that if you get caught burning an LGBTQ flag, you're going to be assessed a fine. Yet it's fine and dandy to burn the United States flag.
Well, the Supreme Court has ruled that you can burn the U.S. flag as an expression of your First Amendment rights.
And
I actually agree with that, although I wish people would not do it.
Like the hat that I got on, if I wore it in the wrong area, it might offend somebody and I might have to take it off.
Okay.
It's a double standard is what we got going on.
Well, and the law is for some, but not for others. It's a continuation of the two-tier justice system. So my hat that says Michigan Conservative Roundtable, which is what MCR stands for those who didn't know, if someone sees the word conservative in there, and this is actually why we changed the name of our channel, because we thought we would get less oppression if we took the word conservative out of our name. Hasn't been the case. They found us eventually. I think initially it was true. I think we started to rise quickly once we took conservative out, but they've caught on to us now, so they're oppressing us again on YouTube in particular. But now if I see let's say, a Biden hat or a Greenpeace hat or a climate change hat, and I'm offended or it hurts my feelings, is anybody going to jail? Hell no, they're not going to jail. But the law is for us. They want to suppress us and shut us up in every way possible. And when you just ask yourself, if people stop communicating, what happens?
Well, you got tribalism. It reinforces tribalism.
You got chaos. Again, yeah. Democrats want chaos. I'll read a little bit of this bill. The hate crime and intentionally does any of the following to an individual based in whole or in part on an actual perceived characteristics of that individual listed under subsection 2, regardless of the existence of any other motivating factors. Which means you don't have to really do much of anything for them to decide you're committed a hate crime. The use of force or violence on any other individual. Of course, I agree with that one. You can't just go beat people up because they don't have your opinion. Causes bodily harm or injury to any other individual. Intimidates another individual. Well, intimidation is pretty subjective, I think. Damages, destroys, defaces any real, personal, or digital online property of another individual without the consent of the individual. So when somebody steals my Trump for president sign or sets it on fire, are they going to be prosecuted? I'm guessing not. And then it goes on to threatens by word or act. And here's the key part, threatens. Well, that's subjective too, to the perception of another person. Threatens by word or act to do any of the actions described in any of the subdivisions A through D. And I'm going to try to include this link so people can read this on their own, because I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing. And these things are going to be, they're going to include all the following: race or color, religion, warning to all of you Catholic bashers out there that I'm going to be coming for you under this new law. I'm going to put you in jail. Sexual orientation, gender identity or expression. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were at a restaurant, and a lady, because they were busting their tail in this restaurant, and she walks up to my wife and I, and she goes, "Are you ladies? Do you ladies need anything?" And Sarah says, my wife Sarah says, "No." And I said to my wife, "What did she say? Did she just misgender me? Oh, now I'm going to fly into a rage and start throwing tables all over the place and threatening to beat her ass and yada yada." Of course, none of that happened because she didn't look at us. and I've done that myself. Physical or mental disability, age, ethnicity, national origin, association or affiliation with an individual or a group, in whole or part based on characteristics decided in the subdivisions. Now, the fines are as the following. A person who violates subsection 1 is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or a fine of not more than $10,000. I can rob a liquor store with a gun and not get any more than that. So if you hurt my feelings, TJ, you can expect to go to jail in the state of Michigan. So if you say you don't like my shirt, if you say it looks like I bought my shirt at the airport, man, I'm bringing you down.
Well, I'm sure you'll get in less trouble if you shoplift with a blowtorch.
I'm sure you would too. In fact, if I go into shoplift, I expect them to let me go.
You know what? If you shoplift an LGBTQ item, it'd probably be, you know.
If I stole a pride flag, they probably wouldn't prosecute me. I suggest. Now, are we in violation of this law? I mean, because it's so subjective, so vague. It's based on perceptions of people. There's no way you can get equal protection under the law here. This thing is a violation of the First Amendment all day, every day. They know it. They know it's a violation of the First Amendment. They know it's going to court, and they know it's getting struck down. But they can intimidate you with you, and they can ruin you if they want. But with legal fees,
they can get you bogged down in a court.
Unconstitutional law.
They can get you bogged down in a court. That's for sure.
Well, here's what I say: when this gets struck down, you ought to go to court and sue the brains out of the state of Michigan. And you know what? Maybe you should sue these legislators individually, because when are these people going to ever be held accountable for anything? That's why they can do these things. They know there's no accountability, and they wonder why people are angry.
Yeah.
I'll close it up with that. Like I said, Democrats do these things. They know they're going to get struck down in court, but they can do a lot of damage between then and whether or not you can get John Roberts to hear your case.
You know, they Democrats do this kind of stuff, and the high road Republicans talk about reaching across the aisle.
Yeah, and you know what? They're part of it too. Everyone who watches this show is well aware of that. I'm sure. So with that, we'll close it up by saying, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.